Hey folks, welcome back. Sorry for the delays in this going up. Yeah, real life's just been busy, but I'll try to get this done. So we're on turn 65, I believe. And to catch those of you up who kind of have forgotten, because it's been probably a couple weeks since I put one of these up. Yeah, the Yomi tried a pretty cool throne rush, got really close to doing it, but unfortunately for him, Mictlan could fairy trot his god and a big stack of Aussies on top of a big pile of Dione, and that did not end well for him. It would have been tough to do even without it, probably, but it was pretty well executed. Just didn't end up working out, and that's kind of that's why I don't really. I mean, there's a lot of reasons I don't love throne rushing. One is because I kind of like playing Dominions, but at turn 60, people got to still play a full game. But the other reason that I don't really like throne rushing is it's prone to kind of failing, and then diplomacy almost always falls apart after you fail. So there's just a lot of degrees of freedom from which it can fail a lot of times. But anyway, let's start with a message from Mictlan. This is the first time I can script weapons of sharpness. I think my armies will be considerably safer from Dione with it. Still, Dione with Boots of Quickness have remarkable map movement, and the Yomi player has shown an impressive capacity to use that maneuverability strategically. I want to avoid using troop formations that are not strong enough to kill 12 Dione, but are enough commitment that losing them would weaken me. What this means is I'm consolidating my mage-supported Ocelottles into a couple strong armies. One is going to be on the Steel Ovens, since I think it's the most likely location for Yomi to try to defeat me in detail, since he likely knows I'm storming the fort there with a relatively small force. And the other would be the Throne of Air. Meanwhile, Yomi has 1 PD everywhere. I'm gambling he isn't going to change that, because Yomi has limited gold and 10 PD does not add much against my troops. We'll do a bunch of remote attacks this turn, aiming to lock down the Niflheim region without committing anything I care about. If it doesn't work, it's not a big loss. It's an expectation profitable. It's in expectation profitable in death gems, and the main thing I'm doing with my 20 air income is banking them in case I need to overcast dark skies later. Okay, that seems eminently reasonable, well thought through. I really like this Mictlan player, how he thinks about the game. There's just a lot of little things buried in here. He's thinking about, like, right now, he doesn't need to be desperate. He's kind of in a good position against Yomi. And what he needs to do is he needs to avoid... The only way this goes south for him is if Yomi puts like 12 Dione somewhere and stack wipes him. So he's worried about getting defeated in detail, and potentially defeated in detail, taking almost no losses, right? Because if 12 Dione kill you, it's very likely the Dione didn't lose any of them. So, and by the way, Dione as thugs and stuff get really, really hard to use once Life for Life comes out. Anyway. Yeah, very, very thoughtful. I think this makes a ton of sense to me. Message from Lanka. Hey, Omniscience. It might be looking weird we aren't attacking Agartha's god the last couple of turns, but we did some Diplo last turn. I didn't want to have to chase his stack randomly around for the next 10 turns while it rampages through our blood economy. So we offered a chance to prearrange a reasonably fair fight. This is 30 to 1's playing Lanka. He loves doing these things. He did it with Machaka, which is pretty funny. Agartha said he wanted to ferry trot out to fight TNN in the north, so we agreed to allow it. Is that a good move or a bad move? I don't really know. Agartha doesn't have a ton of army left, and as long as it isn't poking our blood hunters, I think that what remains should be pretty easy. Part 2, dealing with Mictlan. So we signed a nap with Mictlan a couple turns ago. It's worth noting a few reasons for this. The main reason is that after Mictlan got Gift of Health and Will of the Fates, we don't believe that we could put up any fight whatsoever if he decided to attack the throne with his stack in 114. Losing the throne itself wouldn't be as bad, but losing a huge stack of mages would be devastating. So realistically, we probably would have withdrawn the mage corps and most of the troops anyway. As odd as that may sound, our only real chance to hold the throne was to sign a nap. This is a really good point. It's often the case that players make a bad situation worse by declaring war against somebody they can't hope to win tactical victories against, right? So he's basically saying here, if I don't have a chance to win the tactical victory, why would I, persecute this war against Mictlan when my real only way to hold the throne is signing a non-aggression pact? Now, depending which servers you play in, people will violate that and try to throne rush more frequently than others. But yeah, I don't know. In my server, which is where this game is, it doesn't happen a tremendous amount, though it does, of course, happen some like it does everywhere. But yeah, basically what he's going to do is he knows tactically, hey, I can't win the fight now, but he's basically making the bet, well, maybe I can win it later, right? There's ways where the Mictlan matchup against Lanka gets to be really good later. Like, Mictlan has generally kind of better magic access. And in particular, a lot of the stuff Lanka likes doing with morale plays that it does really well in the late game, Mictlan's mostly immune to. Like, Aussies have perfect morale, basically. So, another message from Lanka on Yomi's throne number 2. So Yomi sent me a nap request to hold his throne there. I was very surprised, assuming it was just a race between me and TC, on who would pick it up after the failed throne rush. Instead, Yomi threatened to move, more or less all in to defend it, and give Mictlan 2 thrones if I attacked. I would think it's a bluff, but he seems to have a major hate boner for me. No idea why, really. Yeah, this is true. I forget about this, but 30-1 is the nicest guy, too. But Yomi was just, and I don't know if the player knew this yet in the game, but Yomi was just berating him in the game chat about not attacking Mictlan. When, of course, he was the only one, Lanka was the only one that really, really, just tore into Mictlan. And Yomi, of course, pieced out. But he was, kind of nasty in the game chat. And, yeah. So this fits. So I think it would be possible that he has some kind of weird response. Regardless, if he intends to defend the throne with every handful of Dione, it could be a real pain in the ass, and we don't have weapons of sharpness yet, so killing them could be tricky. We need to rush alt in order to have a chance against Mictlan, and detouring 2 turns for weapons of sharpness would be 2,000 research, not getting us any closer to Army of Gold. Deep Blood can do it too. You can kill Dione with life for life. You need a lot of it, though, because you have to pop through both forms. And one of the counters to that is actually Luck and Twist Fate. Those are both really good against it. So if Yomi has access to those, he could actually absorb a tremendous amount of life for life with a lot of Dione. But anyway, cool. So now the battles. We're going to go and just kind of look through here on the strategic map. So this is what Lanka was talking about. There's really not much PD here. So he's just summoning all these hawks, and this was Horrors, but this was Arouse Hunger. These were Call of the Winds, obviously. This was Horrors, but the Horrors lost, actually. Kind of surprising. Belly Maws are pretty good. This might be Drain Scales, though. I'm thinking this is Drain Scales. Yeah, it's Drain 1. So I think if it were Magic 3, they probably would have won. Some of this thing, it's like you dodge a couple attacks, you live one more round, you kill a few more guys every turn because your attack score is higher. It changes the math a good bit. Yeah, this was 2 casts of Sin Lesser Hard. Didn't work. But he's got all this now. Yomi attacks over here. This is the Mercenary. Very good Mercenary. Keep an eye out for that in your game. Here we have Mictlan going against Agartha. So Agartha is kind of not long for this world. They've really suffered massive losses at the hands of really a lot of players. TNN, Mictlan, Lanka mostly. They've made Lanka pay a bit of a tax, if I recall. It's been a while since I recorded, so I don't remember all the fine details. Ooh. Mictlan going underwater here with Sea King's Goblet, Ring of Water Breathing. Okay, Sea King's Goblet's the main thing here. I mean, yeah, this is a spooky little stack. Very cool. Loses a Jade Serpent, though. I think that was probably the poison damage. Takes this out. There's not really left keeping him from being in full control of this column. I think we've finally seen it, guys. Mictlan now has full control of the column. And no other player has 2 capitals. I mean, 3 capitals. So once he takes this from Yomi, this capital here, and now he has 2 things that prevent him from being in complete control, but we'll say that's a technicality. He's close enough. But yeah, once he takes this, then yeah, he'll have 4 capitals. So that's kind of sick. The other major fighting is, let's make sure we watch all these. She-Lord, oh, that's kind of cool. TNN's rolling out with some thugs. TNN hasn't been doing too much, so it's kind of cool to see him moving. This is the most basic She-Lord kit. Very standard, very effective. Oh, but that's not normally how you use She-Lords. Yeah, I don't know about the Swarmcast there. Yeah, these guys are sick. What you would normally do with the Nature Gem on them isn't cast Swarm, but do personal regen. It'd be pretty nice. That may have been a magic phase. No, I think we're in normal phase now. The Sylphs are moving around. Is this the same one? No, I think this is a different one. Let's see if it has the same kit. No, it's a different kit here. Also has a Direwolf pelt, which I think is worse than their normal armor, but it might give a, yeah, cold resistance. When there's a Manticore here. Oh, and he's paralyzed by something. I don't know what that was. It looks like... Oh, it's Mind Blasters, of course. Yeah, Mind Blasters are really good against Elf Thugs. So yeah, that's how that ended. Let's see if we have any big battles here. All right, here we go. TNN fighting Agartha. We probably should do this from the Agartha side of the map. Now, TNN has a decent number of devils, which is a little surprising. They probably got a soul contract early. Look at all those lightning bolts. Some frozen hearts coming out from Agartha. And then the devils land in the back, and they're making pretty short work. Looks like some friendly fire with the lightning bolts, though. Only lost a Clockwork Car and a Tuatha Warrior. Reasonably efficient. I'm not sure there's really much Agartha could do here. And by that, I mean, of course they couldn't win. And by of course, I mean, I don't think so. But, you know, you wonder, could they have extracted more of a pound of flesh? I'm not even really sure they could. They're just so outmatched here. And with that, let's go over and really look at the Agartha situation. So yeah, this was them knocking this army off this fort. And they're raiding out, they've got Worm Mages, which are super cool. And here's where that She-Lord gets blasted. And Lanka's on top of this fort. Now, Agartha had talked about... let's go to Mictlan. Lanka. They were going to ferry trot out, which means they would have ferry trotted... here? Where did Agartha ferry trot to? I mean, I think they ferry... Oh, what, are they over here? I don't know where they're going. He had talked about Agartha, like, coming up to fight TNN, but where are they going? Maybe he'll coordinate some movement, like, through here or something. I don't know. I don't know. So that's what's happening over here. The Yomi core lands, right? This is Yomi proper. TNG really has been super passive, which is unfortunate. They've just put a tremendous amount into this Doom stack here. Now, if they lost it, they'd be in a bad way. But I think this is the thing. Like, they're losing anyway. Like, they kind of need to make plays. They've got another stack down here. The thing is, now they'll be acting like it would have been a lot better for them to act before, because now they'll be acting unilaterally against Mictlan. And a lot of these, I mean, let me just put it this way. The Mictlan Sacreds with Will of the Fates on them are extremely hard to deal with. If TNG doesn't have it, which they might, they should. They're the highest in research. But you never know if they're going to have it or not. If they don't have Will of the Fates, they're going to be in a very bad way. But either way, they're just sitting here. There are probably a lot of opportunities. You know, after Yomi's Throne Rush, they could try to come in here and take stuff. I would say this is an opportunity-rich environment, right? They could have... I think really it's either go attack Mictlan or go attack Yomi. Either way, they need to make a play. Because Mictlan is now getting up to 4 caps and they're just at 2. They don't have this last one, but it's on the menu. And then let's make sure I don't want to miss any major battles here. We'll just scroll through these really quick. We saw that one. Okay, and then its events. Let's go ahead and go to turn 66. All right, turn 66. We have a message from Mictlan. Well, my gift of health got dispelled, alas. Oh yeah, there's no message for that, so I would have had to have checked the globals. I'd overcasted by 200 nature, 235 total. So at least that's a lot of astral pearls that won't be going into Nexus if the anti-Mictlan coalition decides to put that up. Yeah, Nexus isn't really something that gets like put together, like pooled. I've heard of it happening before. You have to really trust somebody, because, you know, they could always, like, you don't know how many gems they're getting, so they could gyp you. And that's probably not the politically correct word to use. They could not pay you in full. Anyway, my nature income is high enough that I can probably put it up again with a similarly big overcast soon, if I don't spend all my nature gems fighting. But in the meantime, I have to assume that TNG is going to be going on the offensive. Well, I mean, you don't have to assume that. I get what he means. Like, if he moves that army out, then TNG's army will go on the offensive. But I'm not sure they will. Yomi's putting up wizard towers in that cave was clever. I don't particularly want to fight his Dione in a cave, since my human mages will not enjoy earthquake spam. But if I let it be, he'll raid out with Phoenix Pyre Dione and contest the Niflheim region. He also shot a Seeking Arrow at my main stack containing my Pretender and a lot of other heavily geared human HP mages last turn. I think I need him more for a Doom stack fight with the 300 TNG Sacreds. Then I might need him against Yomi, so I'm planning on teleporting him back to that front. I expect he'll enjoy more than 2 hit points again. Yeah, so Seeking Arrow would have crushed him, obviously, if he got unlucky there. So that's a nice try by Yomi, trying to snipe off a Pretender. I'm hitting 7 with 40 Disease Demons. Oh, 7 and 40 with Disease Demons. And TNG's Pegasus Riders with fires from afar to try and kill the mages, and thus let me kill the entire province with horrors. So I can hope to prevent the TNG army from doing map move 2 once again. Additionally, I assassinated with one of the Windmasters with their horde of air elementals this turn, going for 1 with Bag of Winds now. Okay. So he's trying to get the Bag of Winds, dude. We're not going to see some of them. Let's see. Oh my god, he got a Doom Horror. Or no, that's not a Doom Horror. Just a normal, bigger horror. But you can get that from Sinless or Horror if you get really lucky. So this is the Pegasus Riders. Yoink. So that obviously works. It's just a big heart. I think this was a lucky cast. I don't know what the odds are. It's around like 1 or 2%. It's really low if that's what happened. But Blackhawks this. It looks like that worked. He's really been spamming this, almost at like AI levels. It matters a lot which nation you cast this against too, by the way, if you're thinking about using this spell. Like, do you have good mages or not? That's kind of good PD commanders. If you have Pajama Men PD commanders, this spell becomes a lot more effective. If you have, like, you know, heavily armored dudes, not very effective. Rouse Hunger looks like it works. Okay, we have a Dione sticking its head out. We haven't seen Yomi doing much aggressively, or even aggressively defending. Phoenix Pyre, Earth Power. Yeah, he's going to murder all this stuff. It's got a Herald Lance. That'll be pretty good for one-hitting Ocelotls. Okay, very cool. Mictlan attacking. Yomi writing out again, taking 2 provinces from Mictlan. Agartha getting creamed by the Indies. The only thing that would have added more insult to injury here. He makes a fire elemental, and they're pretty good. Oh my god, they just slapped the shit out of that guy. Yeah. Vine Ogres, they don't hit very hard, but they have a lot of hit points. They're hard to chew through. But this is the case, if he did like Iron Skin or something, it wouldn't have done shit. Yeah, he's at 6 protection. These guys, while they are strong, they don't hit very hard, because the fist is -2. So, anyway. I hate doing it from there. Let's come over here and look. So, this is all internal. Here, oh my gosh. So Mictlan took this all the previous turn. Yomi says, no thank you, this is mine. He is not letting go of this Niflheim region. Which is really interesting, because Mictlan was moving in a siege chaff army. This is not the kind of army you probably want to fight Dione with. And he moves this squad in. I didn't even see where it was the previous turn. But it's got enough Aussies to probably kill, because he's cast Quickening. Like, let's just look at a random Ocelotl here. That guy doesn't have much. Well, this guy's quickened. So yeah, it's basically just quickened Aussies. Oh, and he's got some leech casting as well. So, very cool. Very, very cool. I do approve. The problem is Yomi doesn't know what's in this army, and this army may be able to map move 2 up here. Because of that, he's potentially going to have to take a blind fight on top of this fort. This is the wizard tower that Mictlan was talking about in the message, and he doesn't want to get his mages earthquaked, which is what he's worried about. But this is tricky, because Yomi needs this army here to defend this, obviously. And him owning this is a major logistics problem for Mictlan, who wants to be able to move troops back and forth. And to take move stuff from up here to take this throne. But if he keeps it here, then he's probably not going to be able to hold Niflheim's capital. But this is actually a weird turn for Mictlan too, because he could reinforce here maybe these things could map move 2 into this. But that means he would potentially have to fight a Yomi Doomstack here. And I don't know how comfortable he is. I wouldn't feel very comfortable unless he has like weapons of sharpness or something. But even then, I'm not sure. You know, fighting 6 or 12, I don't know how many Dione could possibly make an appearance in Niflheim. So anyway, this is pretty interesting, this little situation. you know, it sucks his Yomi because he's now basically in a 1v1 against Mictlan that I think is going to be really hard for him to win. Really hard. So I think that, anyway, I think that's that area. If we look at the Mictlan Agartha situation, oh my god, all right, get out the popcorn, folks. Got some living mercuries. These guys are expensive. They're like 6 gems a piece. I think they're overpriced. They are good, though. They're just expensive. And a proper Lanka Doom stack, including a tremendous number of buffalo. He's got some draconians. The imps are starting to land. The earthquakes are coming out. Well, who's cast? Oh, these guys are casting earthquake. Not super effective in general against Lanka, because their stuff tends to have a lot of hit points. So they take a lot of hits, and it's a defense check. So you have to fail a lot of defense checks and then take a lot of hits. Especially not effective if they have Blood Vengeance, but this Lanka doesn't. They have Quickness. But Quickness also helps against Earthquake because it's a defense check and you get 2 defense. I mean, it even helps like the mages. So the Draconians are landing. I'll turn on team colored tiles here. And these are very, very angry Lankan Sacreds. It's really... I mean, these Lankan units just do so much more damage, and the Agartha plan, I guess, was to kind of endure this. But this army will not be endured. It'll only be suffered. Yeah, it's tough stuff. Yoink! Loses a Kalamuka and a Mound King. And about 20 Sacreds. None of the Rakshasa Warriors, notably, because they have both armor and, you know, passable defense. Especially if they had Chaos Power and Quickness Bless. So they're not going to die to Earthquake. But these unarmored guys, because it's also a protection check, did take some losses. So they're now... Agartha has moved the army here. This is the army with their god in it. And presumably they're going to try to hit this. Which is a little mistimed. You would think they wouldn't have ridden out yet if the god was one turn away. Like, they probably should have tried to fight combined. I don't know if it would have mattered too much. I think Mictlan can... I mean, Lanka definitely has the ability, because they can send in counter thugs and things like that. They definitely have the ability to kill the god at this point in the game. The Agarthan god. But does that mean they will? Who knows? This is a lot of friendly Agarthan dominion, so we'll see. Ooh, this looks like a Horde from Helldevil that's been thugged out. Very cool. I approve. This is one of the best ways to use the Horde of Hell commanders. And I wouldn't have really ever thought of it before, except that DE game where you can just easily turn these guys into commanders. They end up making very good thugs. TNC going deep into the Agarthan land, too. They killed this Worm Mage, but let's see how they did it. I'm not really sure what the Worm Mage even casts. Elemental Fortitude, Charm. Pretty sure, don't you have to cast, like, Protection? Like Bark Skin? Oh, it has Invulnerability, so not really important against PD. Did it do Personal Region? No, you probably wanted to do Personal Region. I think that will stack with this. Enlarge, maybe? I don't know. It's not a great thug chassis. Mostly you'd probably do Creeping Doom. But that takes gems. Okay. Agartha loses a stack here. I think we watched that earlier. Yeah, Agartha is not long for the game. This, you know, if Yomi holds on to the Niflheim region, which is a bet, but it's a bet that may work out, could work out. Well, then, you know, Lanka and TNN are going to level up here, taking Agartha's stuff. So it could have kind of, and, you know, Lanka maybe gets some time to recover and plan what he's going to do. So, I don't know. I can see this being a good move for Lanka. It definitely takes a lot of pressure off Mictlan and lets them power up, but I think the province graph, where's Mictlan? Well, they've gained more, so Mictlan's gained more than Lanka has. But potentially Lanka still has a few more to gain. But so does Mictlan. No, Mictlan's making hay. I can see how it would work out. Like, it seems like it might be good, but I think, and this often happens, if you take the pressure off position 1, as long as they don't sit completely idle, a lot of times they make more hay than you do. You know? And, you know, Demosthenes is a good player, and he recognizes the pressure is off. Yomi had just throne rushed. You know, he's using it just to take a land from Yomi, and just doing that, you know, he's powering up probably a little faster than anybody else is at the moment. So that's pretty good. Okay, and I think that covers that column. And I think that'll bring us here to the end of the turn. We still don't have any movement from TNC. It's possible they wanted a 2-province move, but this would have blocked it and just kept these guys stuck here. But it's hard to know if that would have happened, because if he did 2-province move, then literally this would have stopped it. They wouldn't even do a 1-province move. So, we don't really know, but my guess is they probably weren't. This looks kind of cool. We'll look at this before we end the turn. Ooh, water elemental summoner. Oh, sharks. Risky. I think this must only work against certain kinds of things. Oh my god, that couldn't have been closer. Oh, he's twice born. Okay. I think this only works against certain types of things. Like, Ichthids are kind of slow, but if it's mermen, they probably close with your guy before they can make it across the screen. Like, before the sharks can catch up with them. So I don't know. I mean, it worked pretty well, but I don't think it is likely to work. So yeah, pretty cool. Tune in next time, guys, to see what happens. See you guys next time on turn 67.